theme going with the natural world, and
Mother Nature provides, I merely augment.
What if the perfect husband wasn't born, but woven by hand? Imagine living in a strange medieval village where everyone knows your name, but only to mock you. A place where you're judged for being different, where loneliness becomes part of everyday life until one impossible wish changes everything. Today we're talking about one of the most original fantasy films of 2026, Wicker, a movie that mixes romance, comedy, fantasy, and satire into one unforgettable experience. At first, it looks like a sweet fairy tale, but don't be fooled. Beneath its charming medieval world lies a hilarious, bizarre, and surprisingly emotional story that constantly keeps you guessing. The story follows a village where your worth is decided by one simple thing: whether you're married or not. In this strange medieval world, every person is known only by their profession instead of their real name. There is the baker, the shoemaker, the tailor, the innkeeper. And among them lives a lonely woman known only as the fisherwoman. Every morning she walks through the muddy marketplace carrying baskets filled with freshly caught fish. But instead of kindness, she's greeted with mocking stares, cruel whispers, and laughter. The villagers believe she's too rough, too dirty, too loud, and far too strange to ever find love. Years of rejection have taught her to hide her loneliness behind a fearless attitude, pretending she doesn't care what anyone thinks. One evening, after another humiliating day, she makes an unbelievable decision. She visits the mysterious basket weaver, a quiet craftsman famous for creating beautiful wicker creations. Placing a heavy bag of coins on his table, she gives him a strange order: "Make me a husband." The basket weaver doesn't laugh. Instead, he simply looks at her and says, "Come back in 1 month." Confused but hopeful, the fisherwoman leaves. For the next 30 days, the basket weaver works in complete silence. Day and night, he carefully bends fresh willow branches, bending arms, legs, hands, and finally a face. What began as an ordinary basket slowly transforms into something that almost looks alive. Exactly 1 month later, the fisherwoman arrives at the old village church. Standing before the altar is a handsome man made entirely from woven wicker. Dressed in elegant clothes with kind eyes and a gentle smile, he bows politely and softly says, "I am your husband." Shocked beyond words, the fisherwoman slowly accepts him. The villagers are horrified. Some call him cursed, others believe he's magic, many simply laugh. But the fisherwoman ignores everyone and brings him home. To everyone's surprise, the wicker husband isn't a monster at all. He's polite, he's honest, he's hard-working. Every morning before sunrise, while the fisherwoman heads out to catch fish, he quietly repairs the leaking roof, fixes broken fishing nets, tends the vegetable garden, chops firewood, and keeps their tiny home warm and welcoming. Unlike the village men who spend hours drinking and complaining, the wicker husband never argues. He simply helps. Little by little, the fisherwoman discovers what genuine kindness feels like. For the first time in her life, someone truly cares for her. Soon, their unusual marriage becomes the happiest relationship in the entire village. But happiness attracts attention. The village women began noticing something unusual. While their husbands avoid work and expect to be served, the wicker husband willingly cooks, cleans, repairs everything around the house, and treats his wife as an equal. Suddenly, wives throughout the village began asking uncomfortable questions. Why can't our husbands behave like him? The men become furious. They blame the fisherwoman. They blame the wicker husband, anything to avoid changing themselves. Arguments began breaking out inside nearly every household. Old traditions start falling apart. Watching all of this with growing concern is the elegant tailor's wife, the most respected woman in the village. She believes society only works when everyone accepts their assigned roles. If women start expecting equality, everything could change forever. Determined to restore order, she secretly convinces the villagers that the wicker husband is dangerous. Rumors spread rapidly. Some claim he's cursed, others whispered that he's using dark magic. Fear slowly replaces curiosity. The once friendly villagers began turning against the couple. Even so, the Wicker husband never becomes angry. He responds to hatred with kindness. He continues helping neighbors whenever someone needs assistance. He repairs broken homes. He rescues injured animals. He fixes damaged tools without asking for payment. Gradually, some villagers began questioning whether the real problem is the Wicker husband or their own jealousy. As tensions continue rising, the village eventually reaches a breaking point. The men demand that the strange husband be driven away forever. The fisherwoman refuses. She stands before the entire village and declares that for the first time in her life, someone has loved her without judging her appearance or social status. Her emotional speech forces everyone to confront an uncomfortable truth. The Wicker husband may not be human, but he has shown more humanity than anyone else in the village. Ashamed of their behavior, many villagers finally realize how deeply prejudice and outdated traditions have controlled their lives. Families began changing. Husbands slowly start sharing responsibilities. Wives gain more respect. Neighbors treat each other with greater kindness. Even those who once mocked the fisherwoman began accepting her as one of their own. By changing only one household, the Wicker husband transforms an entire community. The fisherwoman, once the loneliest person in the village, finally finds the family and acceptance she always deserved. In the end, Wicker becomes much more than a fantasy romance. One of the biggest surprises is Olivia Colman's incredible performance. We're used to seeing her in elegant, dramatic roles, but here she fully embraces messy, loud, awkward comedy without holding anything back. She makes the fisherwoman both hilarious and deeply lovable. Alexander Skarsgård delivers perhaps the biggest surprise of his career. Instead of playing another intimidating character, he becomes a soft-spoken, innocent, and unbelievably kind husband. His performance gives the Wicker husband an almost magical innocence that makes every scene strangely heartwarming. Peter Dinklage also steals several scenes as the basket weaver. His dramatic speeches and perfectly timed humor make every appearance unforgettable. Visually, Wicker is absolutely stunning. The practical effects used to create the Wicker husband are extraordinary. Every woven detail looks handcrafted, making the character feel both beautiful and slightly unsettling at the same time. Combined with gorgeous candlelit cinematography and a fairy tale atmosphere, the movie creates a world unlike anything else released this year. But don't mistake this for a traditional romance. The film is filled with outrageous comedy, awkward situations, unexpected jokes, and plenty of adult humor. Yet beneath all the laughter lies a surprisingly meaningful message about love, acceptance, equality, and challenging outdated traditions. Instead of preaching, Wicker lets its strange characters and ridiculous situations deliver its message naturally, making the experience both entertaining and surprisingly thoughtful. By the time the credits roll, you'll probably find yourself laughing, smiling, and wondering how a movie about a Wicker husband managed to become so emotionally satisfying. If you're looking for something completely different from the usual fantasy or romance films, Wicker 2026 deserves a place on your watch list. It's weird, funny, heartfelt, beautifully crafted, and unlike anything you'll see this year. Wicker is scheduled to release on October 30th, 2026, with a runtime of approximately 105 minutes. So don't miss this wonderfully bizarre fantasy adventure. And if you enjoyed today's review, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CheezeDrama for more upcoming movie reviews, explanations, and the latest entertainment updates. We'll see you in the next video.